His strongest feeling about Signalgate is really how lame it is to just attach gate to every scandal. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on the Church Big on mandate. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. Paul Walter Hauser is in studio. Paul has a new movie out. We'll get into that. But I probably caught you first in I, Tonya. I don't know, maybe the Richard Jewell movie, directed by Clint Eastwood, correct?
That's right, yeah.
That'd be kind of crazy being the lead of a Clint Eastwood movie.
I thought so. I thought it was fiscally irresponsible for Warner Brothers to cast me and not a real movie star. But that was one of those things that I was in the middle of shooting a Spike Lee movie in Thailand called The Five Bloods, and just had a small supporting role, but it's Spike Lee. You serve sandwiches on that set. Also, I love sandwiches.
Right.
But I said to them, I was like, I was very content in the moment, but I got a call from my reps who said, hey, you've been offered a Richard Jewell biopic, and it was a TV series, a limited series.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 days later, I got offered Richard Jewell, the movie from Clint Eastwood. So I had competing Richard Jewell offers within 72 hours.
Wow.
One of them was quite lucrative and was ready to go, and the other one was Clint having just chosen me out of the blue, and the movie was at Fox. Disney bought Fox, and Clint only does movies at Warner Brothers. So it was a whole fiasco behind the scenes of, is this thing even going to get made? And at the 11th hour, they're like, Paul, you got to choose. You got a high six-figure deal, almost seven figures, to be on the TV version, or you can hope to God Clint gets the movie made. And I just turned down the TV show and folded my hands, and 3 weeks later, I was on the Warner Brothers lot with Clint. It was crazy.
3 weeks later?
Yeah.
So
not shooting, but like meeting the man, walking down the hall. He looked at me and he goes, time to pick up the donuts. And, he wanted me to get even more Julie to play Richard Jewell.
Yeah, what I don't like about our society. What I don't
I was
like.
hoping we were going to go down this.
Yeah, we're
path
going. We're going
this early.
I'll tell you what I don't like. It's like, you see George Clooney's on 60 Minutes, and we have to talk to George Clooney about what's going on in politics and what's going on in the world and how to fix everything and what he knows, because he looks like he knows something. Right? And so we go, look at Clooney. That guy's smart. Look at him. And it's like, he has good bone structure. It doesn't mean he doesn't have a 10-cent head. And I like George Clooney. He's a nice guy. And I'm not saying he's a stupid guy. But we have this thing where you go, look at Richard Jewell, and you go, oh, look at that guy. He did something. Look at that guy. He did something. That guy's that dope. Yeah. Look at that idiot over there. Look at Clooney. He's smart.
Totally.
Clooney, what should we do next? What should the Democratic Party do next? You tell us. Well, he's an actor who has a pet pig. And is a nice enough guy, but he's not smart just because he looks smart.
I think, also the world's so dumb that even if someone's, well-read, we think they're a genius. That's kind of the thing, too, is I think Clooney is much smarter than your average person.
Oh, he is.
But, none of us, you, me, or George, should be approached to figure out foreign policy necessarily.
I concur. I'm saying Clooney gets it on the good side, and Richard Jewell got it on this bad side. Like, people looked at him and go, look at that fat fuck. He doesn't know what he's up to.
I think
look
he was
at him.
A suspect.
He did something. Look at him.
Within 2-3 days, he was a suspect, which is psychotic, considering he, saved a bunch of lives in the literal,
I know. It's just... It's
sad.
just us praising the aesthetic and having sort of disdain for the non-aesthetic, which it bothers me. Look, we do it with insects.
I do it with restaurants. You go into a restaurant, sometimes you're like, this place is kind of dumpy, and then it's the best chicken parm you've ever had in your life. And you're like, oh, it's because this 90-year-old woman is in the kitchen making what she made in the 1940s.
I know, it's so funny.
Yeah.
It is funny. People walk in a restaurant, like in California, in Los Angeles, see a B grade from the health department in the window, and they go, I'm not going in there. And then later on that night, they're drunk and they stumble out of the Staples Center after the Lakers game, and they're eating hot dogs that are being made in a shopping cart with a propane tank with bacon wrapped around it. And it's like, okay, you cannot eat street food and judge a bee at a sushi joint.
Or they're buying those sea moss containers that are about $70, which might just be, Vaseline and food coloring. We have no idea.
We have such a weird relationship with that stuff. Like, literally, there's a guy on the corner of Home Depot, and he's chopping up papaya with a rusty machete, and people are stopping and eating off that thing. But they wouldn't eat if something dropped on the ground or it had a bee in the window or they found out somebody didn't wash their hands or whatever. By the way, the guy at the cart with the machete and the papaya, I don't know where his hand washing station is, but I've not seen it.
I think it's non-existent.
I'm going to go with non-existent.
We kind of, there's something though that is so kind of caveman and primally raw about someone doing it in front of you and just, that's the only thing they do. I don't look at the papaya guy and go, man, I bet that guy makes really good crudité. No. I'm very much looking at him going, this is his thing. Of course it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So I think there's just some of the presentation.
Well, it's not about the good. It's
helps.
About the cleanliness.
No, yeah.
And my thing is I'll eat it from him or I'll eat it at the restaurant. I don't care, but I want consistency. If you're going to eat it off the dude in front of the Home Depot who's working off a rusty shopping cart, then do not turn your nose up at the B grade at the restaurant with the health inspector. That's all.
I agree with you. America's a very emotionally reactive tribe. We don't always come from a place of logic, do we?
No, it's weird. But I have thoughts about why we don't. And maybe
this is a safe place to voice it. I feel like this is, it's called the Adam Carolla Show.
I think when we were in a culture where we worked on farms and logging camps and lumber mills and stuff like that, we were wildly pragmatic. Because when you're working around bandsaws that could take a limb off in any moment, or any kind of equipment that could literally you lose digits in a heartbeat, you would pay attention. And like things had to be very logical and linear, like if you're just unloading a truck filled with 40-foot logs, you couldn't have feelings about things. It just was, or you were getting crushed.
Yeah, it's a simple math, but it's a consequential nature of the environment. And I think that is true. We're kind of living in the day and age now. And I was just talking with one of my drivers about this. He talked about going to Japan, and he's like, these people do everything with excellence, like the guy washing your hubcap or getting the crumbs off your table. They're all treating it as if you're a foreign dignitary on, holiday. Yeah. And he's like, they don't do that here. And we do live in an age now where, you see these stories about Waffle House. Somebody falls asleep on the job, the only person working Waffle House at 3 a.m. and some drunk goes and makes their own breakfast. That literally happened.
Right.
It's like, I don't know that was happening in 1965.
I will tell you, we've given up on expertise.
It's attitudinal, yeah.
I cannot tell you how many car dealerships I've gone into looking at a $81,000 SUV, and I went, how much horsepower does this thing have? And they go, it's peppy. Like, you're not even going to remember a number. Yeah. For $81,000, you can't remember 321 horsepower and 400 foot-pounds of torque. Like, you can't.
It's pulling teeth to get basic information.
Right. Yeah. So we're done. But and I will tell everyone. So we're in cubicles. We're looking at data, and that's where my truth and your truth come in, because we have two different truths now. But those truths don't work in logging camps. There's one truth, you're going to get crushed. That's the one truth. And so now we have room for all our truths because we're living in some virtual sort of digital world. And then as far as expertise goes, the joke is on the person who is not providing the expertise, no matter how mundane the job is. You said Japan, just taking the crumbs off the table. I was always a carpenter, and I wanted to be a comedian, and I was unhappy as a carpenter because I was showing up to a job site every day, but I longed to be a comedian, and it wasn't working out. And at some point, I just said to myself, look, you show up every day to a job site, you are a carpenter, this is what you do full time, And why don't you start doing a good job? Like, why don't you get organized?
Oh, wow.
Why don't you get your shit together, and instead of throwing your cords out and whatever, the screws or with the nails, get organized and get your shit together. And I got organized and I got my shit together and I was happier as a carpenter.
Isn't that something? The
You
causation
are
being-
happier when you
yeah.
get your shit together.
Absolutely. I remember recently in the last few years getting sober, getting on sertraline, prioritizing sleep, and going to therapy, both personal and marital. And I said to myself, why do I feel so good? It's because you weren't a freaking mess like you used to be. You were actually taking control of your life in some regard.
Sertraline? Sorry.
Sertraline, Zoloft.
Sertraline. Oh, is that what Zoloft is? It's a
I think
SSRI?
that's like the fancy medical term for it. I really liked chasing wisdom instead of fun, because fun has an expiration date on it.
Fun is very empty calories, and people don't really know it. Like, search wisdom and search experiences and search challenges.
Yeah.
But searching fun is pretty hollow. But if you spend the day searching the wisdom and searching the experiences and searching the challenges and scare yourself a little bit and surprise yourself a little bit with what you can do, then a little bit of fun on a Saturday night is fun.
Well, it's highlit. It's accentuated because you're not inundated with it constantly.
I wouldn't remember this weird experience I had when I was always eating out was an exotic treat for my family. It just never happened. It never happened. And then as I got older, funds were always super tight, but it was a big deal to go out to dinner when I was poor, you know. And you had to make the decision, like, you want a glass of wine or do you want the appetizer? Because we're definitely you're not doing the glass of wine and the appetizers, no way. So it was an experience. And later on, I got rich, and I found myself one Christmas break number of years ago. I just ended up going out to dinner like 4 nights in a row. And at some point, I just looked at the person I was eating with, and I went, I'm not really enjoying this like I should. And I realized I'm not, because it's too easy. It's too often.
Oh,
it needs to be at the end. Not every night, not any given Tuesday, out to eat at a fine restaurant. You know, I lost it.
100%. It's funny. There are actually people who, and not to go real far down this road, but I find it interesting in this day and age that people get desensitized by sexual escapades and they start to heighten them, and then they realize they're hollow and they're looking for something to thrill them. And it's like, you know what you really need is a hug.
Yeah.
You need to be hugged and spoken to.
Yeah.
You know?
By
It's like,
GIMP.
Yeah.
It's all, you know, when I used to talk to Dr. Drew, he'd go, oh yeah, I got people that are on 90 Vicodin a day. I'm like, 90 Vicodin a day? Oh yeah. I'm like, well, how do you get to 90 Vicodin a day? Well, you do 3 and that then you normalize, you know, and so you do 5, you know, and then
keep getting a new ceiling.
Yeah, you basically, your body is like sort of homeostasis all the time. It's always trying to get back to the middle, you know? So at some point, you're on 15 Vicodin and you're going about your day. You know what I mean? It's not, you're not buzzed, you know, whatever that is. So
I had that with marijuana. That was part of the reason I got sober, is I was like, I got my high and my high, and then I was like, oh, this isn't enough. Wherever I'm at right now kind of feels like I went back to the bottom of the barrel. I need to climb up in the highness. And it was like, then people are giving me wax and they're putting wax on a bong. Suddenly you're like smoking weed, but you have a whole nother substance you've sort of given a veneer of acidity to, and now your brain goes from thinking a funny thought for a movie idea to like mush, and you kind of just don't know if you're a human or not. Like it's not a good place to get. Like,
well,
it's not very healthy.
So you got sober because of marijuana.
I got sober because of alcohol, marijuana, and pornography. I just decided all 3 were toxic to me being the best version of myself. And And getting rid of that while entering therapy and getting on Zoloft, it's like it changed my entire chemical, system. I kind of underwent 3 to 9 months of just like undoing, decades of shit. It was crazy.
Is your candor and honesty part of this? Because you seem very...
Part of what?
Part of the transition into a different person.
I was always
very willing to share.
Yeah.
Which
No,
I'm happy with.
There's so many people not telling the truth in the world that I prefer to tell the truth all the time and then face whatever mild consequence,
Yeah, I'm kind of with you in that. I've had a million arguments where people go, "Why are you talking shit?" And I go, "As long as it's the truth and it's accurate, then it's not shit. It's just what is." I mean, I'm not saying pull up a microphone and talk about something in the bedroom or something, but I just mean if you are relating something that is truthful or accurate, then you're part of the equation is done, and then it's up to everyone else whether to be hurt or offended or angered or what have you.
And I would agree with that mostly. The only thing I would throw in is the idea of, when I entered this program and got sober, this guy said to me this great advice that I'm sure was passed down from generations of dudes trying to clean themselves up. He said, before you say something or tweet something, whatever, email, he's like, ask 3 questions. First, halt, HALT. Are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? And are you any combination of those things? And most of the time when I'm pissed, I'm at least 2 or 3 of those 4 things. Mm-hmm. And then he said, ask yourself, does this need to be said? Does it need to be said by me? And does it need to be said right now? And that's just a litmus test sort of thing. You're not scolding yourself. You're just trying to be like logical. And it's like, it's tough for you because you're a stand-up comedian and a public figure and, you're doing the radio thing. So it's like you innately have this thing that says, my job is to press the button. My job is to pull the trigger. Yeah. So it's like that even more so I wouldn't look at you and be like, oh, I'm so offended by Adam. I might disagree with you, but in the end, I'm like, that's his thing,
Yeah, it's funny. I said to a woman coworker once who'd get into it with a lot of people, and years ago, I did the same version. I said, look, before you hit send, just ask yourself, does it make you money or does it make you happy? And if it's not one of those 2 things, don't do it, because...
That's funny.
If you said, does it make you money or does it make you happy, it would cover 80% of this.
Well, and what, I'm a person of faith, so my thing too is like, what is the heart behind saying it? I had a moment where I was on a night shoot with Liam Neeson on the new Naked Gun picture where we did at Paramount.
That's right.
And I went from a night shoot on no sleep, had to go to the airport at 4:30 in the morning and fly from Atlanta to LA, and immediately from landing, go to Disney and do 7-8 hours of press with Lewis Black for our film Inside Out 2 at Pixar. So I'm exhausted. I don't want to be there, not because I'm not proud of the film. I'm just tired as shit. Mm-hmm. And I said at one point, somebody brought up Vin Diesel, and it just kind of triggered me where I said, don't compare me to Vin Diesel. I like to think I'm on time to set and I'm approachable. And once again, throwing shade. By the way, some of the things I'm saying about Vin were things I heard from several different people that worked with him. And they didn't sound that far-fetched. and I get a little perturbed when very wealthy people are not on decent behavior. So that was me just kind of having my stand-up comic moment. Mm-hmm. And it was small shade, but it turned into a big story. And suddenly there's 30 articles of Paul Walter Hauser targeting Vin Diesel for being unprofessional. I'm like, good God. I made one little crack thing. I didn't think it'd be that big of a deal, and it was. And in the end, I ended up apologizing, not because someone told me to, but because as a practicing Christian man, I thought, did I need to say that? No. Have I met Vin Diesel? No. Yeah. I was just kind of choosing to be shitty because I'm human, and that's part of being human. And
I think
I threw him an apology just to say, like, I don't know you, dude. Sorry, I made a wisecrack. I don't need to be doing that,
I think that whether it's things of this nature or catastrophic airline accidents. It's little stuff. It's a little sequence of stuff, It's just little, I mean, I'm watching the Alec Baldwin show the other day, and I'm like, yeah, he killed this person because somebody put a bullet in the prop gun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like these weird these are little things that turn into big things, and
100%.
all these scandals and all that. There's some weird little moment where it's not anything and then it's everything. But we think in terms of like 9/11, you know what I mean? But it's not that. It's small. It's like little stuff turns into big stuff. And that's why it's hard to find. And that's why most people are surprised. Like, you wake up the next day and your phone's blowing up and people going, what's this whole thing with Vin Diesel? And you go, what? I don't even remember.
Well, I forgot that I'm on, no matter where I am on the totem, I'm a public figure now because of what I do for a living. And I don't feel like a public figure day to day. I talk to everybody the same way.
Well, I
don't like treat everybody differently. Like a kid in an airport, I give the same candor and time to as I would Brad Pitt. I just don't give a shit. So I forget that people are paying attention, and that,
I agree.
That becomes annoying because
Yes.
I remember the days of being able to say whatever I wanted and no consequence.
Yeah, because no one listened. but I mean, it is true. Like there's times when you go, why does Vin Diesel even know who I am? And you go,
probably didn't until that.
I bet he did
Until it came across his.
I got so much to get into
proverbial desk.
about.
Yeah, go
I want to
ahead.
talk
We could do
about
this
Luckiest Man in America. I just saw the trailer. It looked really good. It's based on a true story. It'll be in theaters April 4th. Press your luck. I remember that show, but I don't remember this controversy or the story behind the character that you're playing, which is the character from the game show.
This is before my time. I was born in '86, so this was 2 years prior, and I loved the show. It was on syndication when I was a kid growing up in the '90s. I watched it all the time and loved the whammies, and I loved that you could just. It seemed like such a middle finger to like lose, 13 grand out of nowhere because you hit a red, icon, and so I loved the show. And then when this script came across my proverbial desk, I was like, this seems like a character I can play. This seems like one of those ne'er-do-wells, but who's got another layer of depth and something going on. So I jumped on and became a producer on it, and we gathered a really cool cast because we're in the middle of the SAG strike, and we got those waivers. And we went and shot it in Bogota, Colombia for a fraction of the cost it would have cost us to shoot it here in LA.
It is so bizarre when I talk to Kelly Osbourne and she's hosting I don't know what game show, and I'm like, where's that, Paramount or the Fox lot? She's it's in Ireland. Like, what? Yeah, we're going to Ireland. Like, I could get the part where they shoot Breaking Bad in New Mexico, but Bogota and Ireland, it's insane.
We're
right?
outsourcing Hollywood, man. There was just an article today where Rob Lowe said it's bordering on criminal, the fact that whole industry has kind of gone away. You got Mark Wahlberg and Sony setting up shop in Vegas. You got Cat Williams buying a giant military base and trying to do the same methodology that Tyler Perry did in Atlanta. It's like, It's like, damn, we're not going to have much here.
Well, I was just complaining about this on this very show the other day, and so we can revisit it a little bit, which is what I'm trying to get across to, the people who are in power, which is people will leave if you make things too difficult for them to do it here. They just will. And if Hollywood will leave, anyone will leave. Because, like, I remember I did a show at the Burton Cummings Theater in, where was that? In Canada. You guys will figure that one out. Winnipeg. It's Winnipeg. I was in Winnipeg.
Can we Google Burton Cummings?
He's Guess Who? Yeah. Great voice. Great chops. Anyway, it's good enough. It's got a theater. I was playing the Burton Cummings Theater in Winnipeg, and in the dead of winter. And I was walking. I was being walked to my hotel room, and the guy was walking me. And he goes, staying at the end there. And I go, who? And he goes, Samuel L. Jackson. And I go, what the hell's he? Oh, he's here for 6 months shooting a movie. And I go, where's this movie? Well, it's supposed to take place in Chicago. And I'm like, okay, Samuel L. Jackson is the most progressive guy on the planet. If he's going to pick up and leave to save a few ducats on taxes or whatever, then everything's on the table. You know, Toyota, Honda, Nissan, they're all going to leave.
Well,
and so you're going to get people to leave. So you have to restructure it so they don't leave.
It comes from the top, though. You know, a guy like Sam or myself, we want to shoot in Chicago. It's not like we're like, we need to go to Winnipeg, damn it. Like, it's very much a cost-saving tactic.
No,
and I'm seeing
Rob Lowe wants to shoot in L.A. is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I think cost-saving tactics, like just this morning, I was at the Starbucks right by the Laugh Factory, grabbing my drink, and you know they don't give you the paper sleeve anymore. You have to ask for it. It's like why
for
would
the straw?
No, for the a hot cup.
Oh, the cardboard thing.
The cardboard thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's obviously a cost-saving tactic.
Right.
But it's like Starbucks has such an infinite amount of money. Why would they go to the psychotic degree of not just giving you that as like a human thing, like giving somebody a straw? But I think that's a microcosm for every single corporate business.
Yeah,
is everybody is trying to. It's like at SNL, there was a time where they used to lock the refrigerators from the cast and crew at 30 Rock, and they were like, "Are you telling me that we can't afford the writers' room to have free, 7-Up? What the hell's going on here?" But it was a cost-saving tactic.
I think in a weird way you're answering your own question, which is, at the scale that Starbucks is doing it, the extra 3 cents a unit adds up. That's where that's same with airlines. That's what airlines do,
if these places had any human nature.
No, they don't have any human.
No, they don't.
No, but because once you get to a certain size and once you deal with a certain amount of finances, then you make those decisions like, well, it would cost X amount to recall all the Ford Pintos, but the lawsuits from the 8 people who died because they blew up would be less than the amount to recall, and that's it. I mean, that's where we're at. I yell at everyone every day. Subaru makes station wagons with love, and they make attack helicopters for the Japanese army as well. So they're just doing
gangster move.
They just do what they do.
Yeah,
and all I'm saying is don't expect any different. That's it.
No,
all of Hollywood.
Yeah.
All of Hollywood, the people that never stop saying pay your fair share, all of them will get up and leave to go save 10% shooting in Winnipeg. That's all I'm saying. So Now that we know that, we have to incentivize them, because whether it's Hollywood or Starbucks, us telling them to be more human, and what about it doesn't work. They save 2%, they leave. So we have to incentivize them.
It's crazy. And actually, to bring it back to Luckiest Man in America, that is kind of the story of him versus the machine, because they're kind of looking at him saying, hey, you figured out our algorithm, our pattern for the board, and when to hit the button and get all the prize money and the trips to Oahu. That's cheating. And he kind of, surmises like, is it cheating? It's really just like counting cards in Vegas. You can't put me in jail, but you can kick me out of the showroom. So it's like, I think it's an interesting story where, in a weird way, you really root for this guy, but you also see that he's a very damaged person, that to provide for his family, he's not willing to work at a furniture store or be a shoe salesman like Al Bundy. He's doing these get-rich-quick schemes, and, to the degree that he was chased down by the feds and all these people and ended up in hiding in the late 90s, and he died alone of lung cancer.
Oh, really?
It's crazy. Our film is not as dark and drab as that, thankfully. It's very entertaining.
Yours just kind of takes place in like 76, 77, like mid
Ours
70s?
Is 1984.
Oh, 84.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, on the production budget we had, dude, I mean, this is like an indie Sundance type budget. We look like $1 billion.
It's a great trailer.
It's really a vast cast of like people you've seen, like David Strathairn, who played Edward R. Murrow in Good Night and Good Luck. And then we also have Johnny Knoxville. And then we got Maisie Williams, one of the stars of Game of Thrones. It's like, it's kind of a cool hodgepodge cast where you get excited just seeing people pop up on screen too.
I don't know if you know this, but Strathairn has great calves.
Does he? I have great calves.
Do you?
It's one of my only physical qualities that I'm really like psyched about.
Well, hold on. Are they better than Will Sasso's calves?
Never said that. And then I never will.
Well, that's what I heard.
I love, by the way, one of my favorite human beings. I don't know him well, but every time we see each other, it's like, yeah, we're kind of the same guy.
You're calf buddies.
Yeah, we're calf cousins.
Do you know what Will Sasso's calves look like?
I have an idea. I especially now because he took off some of the whale. He's more of a shark now.
Oh, really?
He looks good. Yeah, I saw him the other night at a wrestling event for All Elite Wrestling at the Crypto Arena.
Jason Strathairn. If you see,
whoa! You just said Jason Strathairn. That's the love child of Jason Statham and David Strathairn.
David Strathairn.
You mean
Yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
I got too many actors by name. If you look at his calves, he has wonderful calves.
I'll tell him you said
well
that.
proportioned. I noticed.
I'll put a pep in his step.
Well, with those calves, he can go wherever he wants.
I teed that up.
But Will Sasso,
great calves.
I'm not here to disappoint you and your own calves, but when you see Will Sasso, you can't show that picture of him.
That is incredible.
That's
Good
Will
Lord.
Sasso.
That's Sasso?
That's Sasso's calves. You think you have those kind of calves? I don't think you do.
Not that good.
I don't.
No.
I don't.
Here's what he is. His calves are like Nike shoes from the 80s, untouched, unworn in box.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I got some Reeboks that a divorced dad is putting in his front lawn for the yard sale. It doesn't mean they can't be worn. It just means they're not Nikes.
Well, we'll have to photograph them before you leave.
Well, that sounds like Hollywood to me. Sounds like a real barter system. Give me your calves, I'll give you a job, kid.
Now, I tell you what I've realized, and I'm not here to burst your calf bubble first with Sasso and now this, but I've realized the baddest man on the planet, John Jones, the GOAT, the man
bad meaning how he treats other people, or do you mean like tough?
More tough, baddest man. Sort of people
used to say he's got a resume.
He used to say that about Mike Tyson. He's the baddest man on that, and he didn't treat people great outside the ring either. But he was known as the baddest man on the planet. John Jones is basically undefeated in the UFC. He goes from light heavyweight to heavyweight. No one beats him. No one touches him. He beats everyone's ass. No calves. No calves. So it's useless. You don't need them.
You know,
it's unnecessary. He has no calves. So your calves do not serve you because the baddest man on the planet has no calves. That's what I'm saying. And I'll say as much to Sasso. I have so many jokes
I can make that I can't make because it'll turn into another Vin Diesel story. So I'm just gonna say he's a healthy looking man. Yeah. I hope the wins overshadow the CTE.
Yes, he does not have calves, but yet he'll put his shin on your temple, and that'll be lights out.
It's crazy. Big guys have good calves. It is a thing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of what's weird?
He carried all that weight. I mean, the calves were doing work we didn't even know was being done.
I think it's a touch by God type situation. I really do. I feel it's random.
Touched by God. That's
touched by the hand of God.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I'm saying. Women are admired for their bosom, but it's not really their doing. Some women have a beautiful bosom and others don't. You know what I mean? But it's
for the record, you saying the word bosom is making everyone uncomfortable.
Rack.
Had you said the most perverted synonym of that word, it would have been more acceptable than bosom.
Well, once I found out you're a religious man, I decided to clean it up a little.
Oh, yeah. No, it's okay. The man show really taught me how to sin.
Okay, so we shouldn't be praising these women for their beautiful rack any more than we should be listening to George Clooney. But these are touched by God situations. Calves
you're
are
reading
touched
my
by
diary
God.
here. This is chapter 5 of my book on false equivalencies. No, I'm just kidding. I think, at the end of the day, we're never going to have a president that does all the things we want, because the person who's most equipped to be president and do a good job is not going to run for president.
That's
because
true.
they're smart.
Yes.
And they know that there's a ceiling to what you can do. And eventually it just turns into Jim Henson. Somebody's got their hand up you and you do what the corporations tell you.
Well, I think it's even...
It's pretty obvious. It's not...
I think it's even deeper. Oh, not even deeper, but I just mean who is, comfortable financially and successful and whatever, who wants to have their personal life gone over with a crab comb and put on the news every day. Like who amongst us doesn't have a couple things, transgressions from the past or tweets or whatever. Like, does anyone really want to open themselves up to that kind of insane scrutiny? And especially you have kids, you have a marriage, you know what I mean? You have a teenage daughter. It's like, do you really want this? I would never want that for me or my family. I think you have to be pretty delusional. In some ways you got to be pretty delusional to think you can have a lucrative career, having your own show like you have, or being a movie TV actor like me or whatever. But president, it's a whole nother... your idealism is just going to get curb stomped day one you walk in there. Yeah. Because you're going to find out that you don't matter. Everyone thinks you matter, but you don't. Well, it's kind of like the old network pilot process. They love your script, and then you go and they sit down, and then they start tearing the script apart. And then the next thing you know, it's a shell of what it was, and you're disillusioned because you thought we were going to go do this, but you're not doing this, you're doing something else. And there's too many chefs in the kitchen, and so on and so forth. It's that, and then that with the nefarious sort of dusting of corporate, a much darker version of that. Yeah, but it's just you go in thinking here's what we're going to do, and you walk out feeling like what just happened to me. And I think one thing I've learned, to give a summation of just where I've landed with what I think about that, is I think that we always do our best in helping the actual world when we close the perimeter. Because everybody wants to, well, how do we solve world hunger? It's like, your kid doesn't even talk to you. How about you worry about that? Yeah. You don't know your neighbor's first name. How about you worry about that? We all want to wear capes, but nobody wants to have a gardening spade in their hand. Right. We got to go back to basics. And if we take care of our room and our home and our kids and our neighborhood, that's really what we're called to do. If we all pitched in at a basic level, that would probably make the world a better place than purporting to have the answer to anything. You don't have to have, after school programs if everyone just stays together and raises their kids. Like you don't need deadbolts on doors. You don't, you can leave your car unlocked and your laptop on the seat. You know what I mean? Like you don't. If in a world where everybody's intact and everyone takes care of their family and everyone raises their kids right and so on and has the support, in that world, if you want to go micro, then yes, there is no more crime and there is no more whatever it is you don't want. So I agree. Conversely, all the big programs in the world are not really going to work as long as we're churning out tons of unwanted people and unleashing them upon our society. But I think you skimmed over. They're eating the cats. Yes. My calf was touched by, I'm saying your calves are touched by God because it's really random, and it just means he likes you better. I think he does like me. I don't think he likes me, but I know he likes me. He likes you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So now Naked Gun, because I forgot about this. It's one of my favorite franchises. Oh man, I'm spoiled, dude. I get to do these biopics like Luckiest Man.
I get to do these comedies with Akiva Schaffer from SNL, Lonely Island, that whole crew. It was a blast, man. We had so much fun.
And the first, I don't know if you have gone back and watched the Police Squad TV series.
I haven't seen the show in years, but I did go back and rewatch the Naked Gun films.
Yeah, the series is really good, Zucker and Abrams. So I would recommend the series. I think there's like 8 episodes, maybe 9 episodes. It just ran on TV for like 8 or 9. Real good stuff. And then you need to watch Kentucky Fried Movie.
Oh, right.
Which is their sort of first
Late
thing.
70s, yeah.
Yeah. Funny, very, like, you'll see a lot of Naked Gun and Police Squad and stuff like that in Airplane. You'll see it in Kentucky Fried Movie, but it's not linear. It's just a bunch of vignettes.
It's a sketch movie, right?
It's a sketch movie, yeah. All funny. Really, really clever, funny, sort of edgy stuff.
I kind of miss those sketch movies. When I say those sketch movies, really, I'm just talking about like Monty Python, The Holy Grail. The idea of just having pieces, and it's like sort of a woven story, but really it's kind of the fun of bouncing around. And I think in the current like ADHD cell phone era, a movie like that would actually do quite well because you're only paying attention to a story for 3 to 5 minutes, and then you jump to something else.
Yeah, so you and is Liam Neeson the Leslie Nielsen part?
Yeah, he's like the son of Leslie Nielsen's character, and I'm the son of George Kennedy's character. It's kind of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it's shot?
It's already shot. Yeah, I'm doing a reshoot day in April for Paramount, kind of just sewing up the last little bit, and I think it'll be in the can and have a trailer out May or June. Yeah.
And when is it supposed to be released, do you know?
Yeah, it comes out August 1st.
Wow.
So I got Luckiest Man in America, comes out April 3rd, April 4th, in, I think, 800 screens, which is unheard of for an independent film.
Yeah.
IFC is really believes in this film and is pushing it in a way that few do. Then I got Fantastic Four from Marvel. I have a role in that film. That'll drop July 25. Naked Guns, August 1. I did a movie for Lionsgate and Bronze Studios called Americana, which is kind of like, feels like an early Tarantino movie. That's got a crazy cool cast, crazy good script. That'll drop in August at Lionsgate. And then in the fall, I got the Bruce Springsteen movie with Jeremy Allen White, the guy from The Bear. He plays Springsteen, and I play Mike Batlin, the guitar tech who helped him record Nebraska.
Oh, I didn't know that story.
Oh, it's crazy. It's a very intimate story. It's not like we're doing the fun-filled Bohemian Rhapsody, let's show how they've figured out We Will Rock You as a song. It's not like that. It's a very personal, dark, deep story about a struggling artist who has childhood trauma and is trying to grip with isolation after he becomes wildly famous.
Oh, we're talking about Bruce Springsteen, not your character.
No, Springsteen.
Nebraska's a real departure from like Born in the USA and that kind of stuff.
And the story behind it is really interesting. So
really?
we kind of delve into that rather than show the hitmaker era. We're kind of showing him in the doldrums before he blew up even more and kind of became an icon with the Born in the USA stuff.
Is it sort of like, they just had the SNL movie come out and you're like, oh, 50 years of SNL. It's like, no, one day of SNL. It's like one small part of it.
We're not that small, but it's definitely like a year and a half span of his life, sort of between albums,
Wow, that sounds like a really interesting project.
I really stand behind it. I believe in it. It's this isn't some corporate shilling thing. I really like. There were just moments on set where we would rewatch a take, or I would just be like, I'm wrapped for the day, but I'm going to stay 20 minutes because I got brilliant filmmaker Scott Cooper. Bruce Springsteen himself is on set hanging out. It's like, why the hell would I leave? And so I would be watching them shoot, and I'm like, man, I can feel the emotionality and the drama without the score, without the editing, and it's like, if you can feel it then, you're really going to feel it when it's all put together. So this year I got 5 or 6 movies coming out. I couldn't be more proud of them. And this movie, Luckiest Man in America, is really a nice departure and a quirky time capsule piece that I hope people will actually give a shot to.
So Bruce was there, and Bruce obviously signed off on all the music rights and everything?
Signed off on everything. He was a total mensch. He'd show up 2 to 3 days a week and sit in the chair next to the director and whisper little things or make a note. You'd eat little fun size, like Halloween style candy bars. And you just kind of hang out and answer people's, questions and take selfies and stuff.
Wow.
It was super cool. Man.
What a experience. And talk about variety. I mean, for you, doing Naked Gun, which
Marvel.
is some farcical comedy, and then Marvel, and then smaller films like this, more
It's
intimate
a dream,
films.
dude.
It is. I mean, also, I'll just go unlikely star because, like I said, when you see George Clooney, you go, yeah, okay. Yeah, I get it. And I gave you your first big break.
Yeah, you did. Too Late with Adam Carolla, 2007. 2006, something like that.
I literally came in here today, and one of my guys said, he worked on Too Late, your talk show. And I said, he did? And then I said, well, wait a minute. It was 05.
Yep.
And I said, wait, how old is he? And then I did the math, and then I was like, he didn't work. He was in college or high school or something when I did that show.
I was a year out of high school. I was 19, fall, winter of 05 and 06. And I enjoyed the show. I was a fan of the show. I saw there was some online email address that said pitch, material or whatever. So I sent a bunch of jokes, and somebody got in touch with me, and I would call in every now and again. They'd have me talk to a celebrity like... I almost talked to Alec Baldwin one time or Anthony Anderson, but the ones I ended up talking to were John Stamos and Paul F. Tompkins, and then you and I had a back and forth once or twice where I would disagree with you on something, and then you'd be like, cut this guy off. I don't like this. I pitched a joke one time about Tommy Lee getting electrocuted on stage, and I was like, the joke I pitched was, do you think he set it up to try to get press to become relevant again, like almost kill himself? And you guys used that, and I was all super psyched. Yeah.
So how much writing and how much comedy, other than playing comedic roles, but are you writing comedy scripts? Are you getting up and doing any kind of stand-up performance live?
I did stand-up from the age of 16 to about 30, 32, 31.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I wasn't super consistent. There were guys who were like, I got to go across town to make another open mic. I was never willing to do that. I was like, I'll go up once a week. I might miss a week or two. I was just kind of like, I wasn't fully into it because I was also screenwriting movie scripts, making short films, acting. Stand up, I liked it, but I was like, I don't think I'm as good as the guys who make it. I think Jamie Masada pulled me aside at
Laugh Factory
in Chicago, where I auditioned once to have a regular spot. And, I was all excited, and he tore me a new one, was really mean to me. But he told the truth. I didn't like how he did it, but he told me the truth. He said, this just feels like one of those SNL auditions where you're just doing little bits. Feels like somebody else could have written it for you. I don't know your voice from it. Just come back in 2 or 3 weeks. And he circled a date on the calendar. And I was like, okay. And I was trying to be obsequious and be like, yeah, I'll take your notes and I'll come back and I'll do better. And he goes, yeah, you're full of shit. And that night I got drunk and drank like 10 beers and like was choked up and mad and was, it was raining outside. I came there in the rain from my Starbucks job in Rosemont, Illinois. Like it was devastating to me. I thought like, I'm never going to make it in the stand-up. And it was like, calm down. It's one guy's opinion and part of it's right,
Well, I always said to people all the time, I go, comedy is like saying I'm athletic. And I go, but what's your sport? Because if you're not in the right sport, you can be super athletic and be, say Michael Jordan never played basketball. He just played baseball. That's all he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And he would have been, I don't know, fair to Midland. I don't know if we'd know his name if Michael Jordan said no basketball, starting in 10th grade. It's all baseball. Would he have made it to the show? I don't know. He's a great athlete, but I don't think we know who his name was. I don't think we know the name Michael Jordan. So, it's like saying, I tell people all the time, you got to pick a sport. It's not just enough to go, I'm athletic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I had to pare it down and just be honest with myself. So I got out of the racket and just kept acting. And what was funny is they offered me spots. All the spots I would have killed for back in the day, I got offered after. Guys like Adam Ray and Amir K coming up to me being like, hey, you want to do this thing? Skylar Stone, you want to come to the Improv? It's like, they're all super nice to me, but it's the film credits. It's not like they're like, God, we love your stand-up.
Right.
They think I'm funny, but it's more of, it looks kind of cool on a poster on Instagram.
Yeah.
Not, so I've stayed away from that, but I do occasionally, if it's for charity or I just feel like going up, I'll go up, and it's fun. And my real hobby work thing right now is wrestling. I got really into professional wrestling, and I've had about 16 or 17 matches, and now I'm looking to produce wrestling shows, like live shows or taped. And that's become kind of my thing. The way, Billy Crystal loves the Yankees, Wahlberg loves golf. My thing is wrestling.
Vin Diesel loves being late.
Vin Diesel, you know what? Vin Diesel worked with Sidney Lumet and Steven Spielberg. I sure as hell haven't.
No, I know the guy did all the Fast and Furious movies, so I got a little behind the scenes info. So you felt you were realistic with yourself, which is interesting. I did the same. I had the same trajectory with sketch comedy, sketch improv.
Yeah,
I was like, you are good enough to do this at a certain level, but you are not good enough to do it at a high level and get paid. So you may like it, but you're not good enough at it to keep pursuing it. You're going to have to find another direction.
I think self-awareness is more of a gift than the ignorance. I think it's good to be able to do that for yourself. And I'm way more sketch-driven than stand-up-driven. Today I went and did the weather forecast at KCAL, and they put me on the spot and said, do it. And it was like, I basically just did like improv stand up for 3 minutes and was just riffing off certain things, and they were laughing the whole time. And I rewatched it. I was like, damn, that was pretty funny, actually.
Is it out on the
Yeah, it's on my
internet?
Social media. If you go on my Instagram, you can watch it.
Because I've done that a few times too, and it's fun.
It was funny because I was actually nervous, but then I watched it and I'm like, oh, you would never know. I'm just rolling with it.
Yeah, I like, again, Michael Jordan wanted to play baseball, but he it didn't matter what he wanted to do. It's that what he could do and what he was sent here to do was play basketball.
And I think it's a gift to know that. That's nice to know that.
Yeah, the problem is
not knowing kind of corners you.
Once the hard part is when you know it, but the next thing hasn't come around yet.
Yep.
So Michael Jordan is a perennial all-star at basketball, tries his hand at baseball and goes back to basketball. I was a out-of-work kind of loser, construction worker, sketch comedy guy who quit sketch comedy, and that just left construction. Like, I didn't have radio. It's not like I became successful on radio and then quit doing sketch.
And what's funny is you actually incorporated a lot of sketch comedy into the Man Show, which was the big break, right? So it's like you actually ended up getting to partake in sketch comedy at a high level.
Yeah, it was all
just wasn't.
It was all sketch. Yeah, it was. It
wasn't on the blueprint, but it got there.
Yeah, it was. For me. It was sketch. It was just stuff I had wanted. Oh, I can't. My signal is off on my monitor, fellas. That's why I'm not able to see. But I can turn toward Paul's. This is KCAL. This is today?
This was today, yeah. They posted it, so I reposted.
All right, let's...
This is a little bit more of a packed sun weather and not a North Face. But, you make your own decision. A guy my size, we don't need a whole lot of clothes. I kind of have my own covering. But you cover up today. We got a looking good in Los Angeles at 71. Summer is not quite here, but spring has sprung. LA, you're looking fancy. You know what the reality is LA is so full of itself that we're not really looking at the weather. We're mostly worried about how we look. Oh my goodness. What do we have here?
Santa Monica.
That does not look like any beach I would frequent. It's looking a little gray in LA, as Loudon Wainwright would say. Hollywood Hills. It's looking a little drab today, guys. Maybe stay in and binge watch Love is Blind, which is what I like to do. Or some Traitors. Watch Alan Cumming do 15 different wardrobe changes and make Beyonce look like a rookie. It looks like I'm Godzilla stepping over the city and terrorizing, but this is just a green screen. I'm just kind of walking past it.
I'm just going to get right to the 7-day.
7 days my favorite. What are we doing with this?
All right, here we go.
7 day.
We're going to talk about the next 7 days, Paul.
7 day forecast. You know what? 70s. There are some places that don't have 70s, like where I grew up in Saginaw, Michigan.
All right, from two Pauls back to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
Wow,
and Paul.
that was fun.
Just riffing, but it was fun. It was that. I love going back and watching on YouTube Robin Williams at award shows because he just starts doing bits.
Yeah.
And you know that like no one's trying to cut him off. They're just like, this is fun. Let him do it.
Yeah, well, you train enough, and then you sort of fall back on it, and it'd be like if you just trained jujitsu for 20 years, and then all of a sudden you're walking at night in front of a restaurant, and some guy grabs your shoulder.
Right.
You just go into it.
100%.
You're not even thinking about it. You're just into it because you've done so much training in that world.
Dennis Miller has that thing where he's very much got like a crazy library lexicon of references.
Yes.
And they'll just kind of, it's like a spindle goes on in his head and something drops out. I kind of have that too, where it's, it's not even, sometimes it's about self-amusement. You're not even sure it's going to hit with the audience or whoever you're doing it to, but you're like, well, this is from my brain library, my cerebral, storehouse.
So any thoughts about revisiting stand-up? Because I can tell you I revisited stand-up and I'm strong at it now and I like it. And it's I look at it completely differently than I looked at it when I was trying it in earnest in my 20s.
Yeah.
Like I went back, I took 25 years off and like went back and went, you know what? I think I'm going to approach this like as an adult now, like not as a poor person living on a futon with sort of desperation and stars in my eyes. I'm going to approach it from a perspective of someone that already found success and now wants to do it for reasons that aren't monetary, for instance.
Right. But that sort of recipe internally probably makes the entire thing different for you in a good way, right?
Yeah, but it's also it is a thing where you go, I am old and I'm much better than I was 4 years ago. And I'm old. Like it's not like sports. You know what I mean?
A lot of my stand-up was based around self-deprecation and embarrassment and sort of dark like humor. I was almost the butt of my own jokes, right?
Right.
And I've gotten so far away from that and sort of taken such genuine license and confidence in who I am. I stopped hating myself that I almost don't know what my stand-up looks like now that I've evolved in some way. But I will say that if I felt I had something to truly say, I would definitely figure out that way to say it, be it stand-up or some kind of a special, maybe a hybrid comedy special.
Yeah, well, it seems like...
I like what Bo Burnham did, where he did the whole thing in his room. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, good God. Drop everything and watch Bo Burnham's Inside on Netflix. It's this experimental stand-up show where he does music and characters and then stuff that's almost like anti-comedy, like a little bit like an Andy Kaufman thing. But it's just one of the smartest, most... daring pieces of comedy I've seen in a long time, and it really made me go, oh, stand-up can be different. It doesn't have to be walking on a stage with a mic and the water bottle on the stool and you have 3 cameras set up. Like, it does not have to be that. You can find another vantage point. It just has to be good.
Yeah. I'm just saying it based on you in the variety that you seem to enjoy, because I really think that I say to people all the time, look, show business is great because, you get a lot of perks and money and accolades and stuff like that. But if you are hosting the same game show for 27 years, I don't know how great it is because when we talk about people in sad jobs, you go, well, that guy worked at the postal sorting center in Arleta for 31 years, then he retired and he died, and you go, oh, because it's going to the same place,
Yeah.
And as much, but it's going to the same place and a millionaire, but it's still going to the same place, and so doing a big farcical Naked Gun type comedy, doing a smaller, more intimate movie, doing all the different things that you're doing and the business affords you to do, that's really the perk of show business. Like writing a book, doing a documentary, doing a live show on stage, doing a podcast, doing an independent film, that's what you want. It seems like that's what you're going after.
No, big time. I'm like that with everything. I'm like that with my music. I like Tupac Shakur. I like Joni Mitchell. I like Indian food. I like a shit burger. I'm just kind of, I think variety and variance is part of my DNA for whatever reason. And I do just kind of need that to some degree. I don't think I would have been okay. Even I remember at one point I was ready to settle for just a bad sitcom, and I won't say who was involved or what it was, but I'll just say it was the kind of thing where you sure as hell need a laugh track because it's not that funny.
Right.
But I was willing to do it because it's like, what a good life. I can make people laugh and get paid to do it. But it's funny that, not getting that show and then not going forward it's kind of one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I look at what I do now and I'm like, oh man, I can't imagine being tied down to the same shtick.
So you're going to start writing and producing the stuff you write?
I'm writing like a madman. I have since I was a kid. I've written 20 features. I've written 6 original pilots, 1 million sketches and short films and short stories. I finally got something with Damon and Affleck. They started a new company called Artist Equity, and I got to know them a little bit from a movie we did at Apple called Instigators. And Damon, I just hit him up one day and was like, dude, I got this thing me and my buddy wrote. We literally started writing it in 2011, and Damon and Affleck read it and they were like, sold, we love it. I was like,
wow.
What? I mean, I'm talking 5 days went by, and Affleck and Damon were like, we'll pay for it, we're gonna do it.
Wow.
I was like, holy
feature.
Yeah.
Wow.
That I'm starring in with Richard Jenkins. It's like a road trip movie with me and
great cast.
Jenkins.
Great
And
cast.
And now we're just trying to get the pieces together and make sure we can actually make it work with schedules. But that's like something that I've been trying to do since I was 16. I've written 20 movies.
Right.
It's been exhausting, and out of nowhere, I just randomly hit up Damon, who I don't hit him up every day for obvious reasons, and he said yes. So that's been the journey of trying to break into screenwriting and producing. I feel like that's just starting to happen at the same time the wrestling stuff is starting to happen. So I think the entrepreneurial is melding with the creative, which is what I always wanted to do.
And what about that David Arquette, pussy?
David Arquette is a tough man and a good father. I invited him to a wrestling show. He's like, nah, my kid's got to play that night. And I was like, good man, showing up. I love it.
I'm just trying to start a little controversy.
Look, if you want me to talk about, I can't say the P word anymore.
You can't say
because
pussy?
it's such a magical, strong thing that it doesn't even feel logically appropriate to make it have that connotation. I think if we're going to use that term, it's like it's got to be something like I don't know, what would be the anti that would make more logical sense in the context.
The anti.
Do you think it's a wuss?
Wuss, yeah, but wuss just sounds short for puss. I have
Let's
a phrase.
Find a new word. We can change the world right now if we gave a damn.
At some point, I decided not to call guys douchebags, but I'll call them douche nozzles, because the nozzle's really the business end of the douche. The bag's hanging on the door 5 feet away. So douche nozzle is, one of the phrases I came up with.
Typical woke celebrity. Feeling like he has to change half of the term. No, I love David Arquette's a good dude. Let me throw some shade though. Let me throw some shade at my guy Matt Cardona. That's a famous wrestler who I got to get back in the ring with. Matt Cardona, New Jersey may love you, Long Island may love you, but I'm sorry to kick your ass.
Oh, is that coming up
Shots
on
fired.
April 5th, by the way?
April 5th, I'm actually wrestling in this, it's called a Battle Riot. It's our version of WWE's like Royal Rumble, where all the guys come in every minute or two. So I'm one of 40 competitors. It's
Long
taking
Beach.
place in Long Beach and at Thunder Studios. And we still have some tickets. We sold out, so we had to move venues.
Oh, nice.
From Commerce Casino down to Long Beach at a private studio.
Thunder Studios.
If you or any of your buddies want to come, you'll be on my guest list. We'd love to have you.
I'd love to come out. That's April 5th, and that is Saturday, right?
Saturday night. Is all right
Paul
for fighting.
Walter Hauser. Yeah, Elton John. Well, this is fun. I'm glad I got this version of you. Because
Yeah.
I got the good version.
Listen, I was, before I got sober and did all that work, I was a very fun guy to hang out with. I was very fun when I was loaded. I wasn't like a scary drunk. I was kind of fun. But I was also very sad and dark and negative. And I feel really, really good now. And I'm glad I can remember, conversations I had the night before and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Well, come back and talk about any of this stuff you want to talk about at any time, because I've really had a
That'd
fun
be
time
fun,
talking
man.
to you. I think we took about 20 years off in between Too Late and now, but let's...
It won't be another 20 years.
won't be another 20 years.
Good deal. Thank you, buddy.
The Luckiest Man in America, April 4th, and then you can watch him wrestle on April 5th. Paul, thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, brother, man.
O'Reilly. Yeah, you know the song. I love O'Reilly. I like cars. And I think you should fix things yourself, Don't throw everything in a landfill. Go take care of it. Go to O'Reilly, get the part, fix your car. Not enough people are rolling up their sleeves, man. O'Reilly Auto Parts. They have friendly, helpful service. They have people that have knowledge and know the parts you need to maintain and repair your car. I always went to the one up on Foothill when I lived up there back in the day, driving my 86 Isuzu Trooper, keeping that baby on the road. So whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you're going to find the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts have the knowledge and are helpful, and best of all, are friendly. So you can stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today, or you can visit us online. O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
Bongs, James Bongs.
If you said any James Bond movie,
Bond. James Bond.
you're correct. Now, back to the show.
I don't get why does he have to pluralize James Bond?
Yeah, no.
Why is it James Bond's?
Common
and
mistake.
people go, that's not how we do it. And they go, yeah, well, in his country. And it's like, okay, but James Bond's from England, so I don't live with him either. It's just James Bond.
But the funny thing, too, is the things sometimes that are pluralized, they singularize.
Yep.
And
Right.
when we were in South America with Alan Parsons, everyone called him Alan Parson.
Right. Well, I got my mind on my monies, and my money's on my minds. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do it. The thing about, you can go, James Bond. Stop! You don't have to keep going. You don't have to do it. It's not in the middle of the word.
Plural, that's tough stuff for possession. Possessive nouns is tough stuff for an ESL.
All right. Well, I got complaints.
Right.
I was driving here today, and there was some stuff going on the freeway, and there was a commotion. They were cleaning. It turned out they were cleaning the Diamond Lane. And so they had the CHP guy, and they had the street sweeper, and they had all the stuff there. But the reason I knew it is I was way behind it, but I drove over a traffic flare. A traffic flare is a stick that shoots fire out of it that they randomly just throw behind them. And in a world where, you go to a restaurant or you can buy it at home for like $2, you can get a little weird fake candle thing with a little battery in it, and you can flick it on. It'll last for 3 days. You know what I mean? Like in a world of very inexpensive lighting.
Yeah.
And this was at noon, sun up. Couldn't really even see it, but it was just a stick. You don't need to put a road flare on there, but it was just, okay, it's a stick that shoots fire.
Yeah.
That you throw in the middle of the street. But it's like, it's a bizarre notion that in 2025, like there's a jackknife big rig. Get the sticks that shoot fire and throw it out there where the jackknife big rig is. It's a tanker truck. Better yet, get the sticks with the fire. Okay. Everything around the freeways just scrub and brush and dead stuff. Eventually, a guy goes by in a Camry at 80 miles an hour and kicks the stick of fire off the side of the freeway into the scrub, and then we have a brush fire. Or it sits on the ground and it's asphalt and it melts it. Because asphalt, when you heat it up, gets gooey. Like it gets sticky. You can melt asphalt by just taking a torch and holding it on the asphalt.
The seeds of a pothole.
Yeah. So why in 2025, with all the modern lights and LEDs and LCDs and reflectors and everything, do we have the stick that fire shoots out of? And by the way, we don't have to collect it. These guys were long gone. It's just, but what remained is the stick with the fire shooting out, and it's just rolling around the freeway on fire now, which is like, so I thought, in LA, sparklers are illegal.
Correct.
Sparklers, the most benign of all fireworks.
Yes.
Fireworks, like, sparklers are the applesauce of fireworks, right? Like, it's just nothing. Every kid likes it. It's nothing. No, it's no great shakes. It's not chicken curry or anything. It's just applesauce.
Yeah.
Too dangerous. In the city of Los Angeles, a coat hanger that's dipped in sulfur and barely burns, that's illegal. But you can take the fire stick and just chuck it out of the back of your moving vehicle while you drive down the fucking highway, and that's completely sanctioned. No problemo. You understand? Like, we don't...
State-sanctioned sparklers.
We're like, we need electric leaf blowers. We can't have gas. What? I don't think there's a catalytic converter on a road flare. It's just open sulfur flame up into the air. It's everything we hate. We hate fire. We hate air pollution. Do you realize in Los Angeles, you cannot smoke a cigarette on the beach, but you can light a mop handle and throw it wherever you want on the freeway all day, every day, and it'll just burn around. So no sparklers and no lit cigarettes on the beach, but road flares remain. And I was thinking about this. Asphalt starts to soften and become pliable at temperatures around 120 Fahrenheit and become fluid at higher temperatures. But yeah, open flame on the asphalt, it just leaves a little burnt pocket of wherever it's set. Now, hopefully, there'll be enough guys on motorcycles knocking the flares around so they don't melt the asphalt. But whether it's the asphalt or the environment, how about it's just littering? You know what I mean? Just like, you're just throwing fucking... What if I just drove around Los Angeles and I said, you know what, I'm going to light this garbage on fire and throw it out of the window of my car? How fast would I just be fucking zip-tied and hog-tied?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me say this. I was thinking about today, and I was like, no smoking on the beach. Like, there's things we enforce in Los Angeles. You could park an RV and cook meth on it by the beach and sell it to school-age kids, but you can't smoke on the beach. That's an issue. I think I'm going to go out to Malibu and I'm just going to sit in front of PCH completely devastated by the fire, and I'm just going to sit there and smoke a cigarette and dare somebody to fucking come up to me. And I'm just going to go, you got to put that cigarette out. I'm going to go, why? It's fire issue. Oh, fire, is it? Wow. Let me see. Wasn't that Aaron Spelling's house? Yeah, gone. Just a huge pile of fucking burnt up G-Wagons. You go, really? Going to have to put this cigarette out. Okay, I'm going to have someone film me putting this cigarette out while you talk to me about the dangers of fire. Here's my thing. Everybody should be able to smoke in Malibu until it's rebuilt.
Yeah. In perpetuity.
I don't want any fucking lectures on fire safety while the entire hill and PCH is completely gone. Don't you agree?
Yeah,
that sound fine?
I'm into this. I'm into this entire idea. Yeah, cigarettes, joints,
sparklers,
weed bongs,
sparklers,
methamphetamine.
How about
anything.
sparklers?
Sparklers are in there.
Now's the
Grandfathered
time.
in.
I swear to God, 3 months from now or whenever the 4th of July is, if you stood out on the beach in front of an entire hellscape of burnt homes on PCH and lit a Piccolo Pete, you would be arrested. You would be arrested. I'd be like, what the fuck is there to burn? There's the ocean over there. I'm standing in a giant ashtray called the sand, and then all I see is rubble and devastation. So what are we going to do? Do damage to that guy's burnt up slab?
No. Flicking cigarettes at Aaron Spelling's house.
2025, we still have road flares.
Yeah, I know.
In LA, in California, where everything is signs, Smokey the Bear, fire safety, fire alerts, fire, air, danger, danger, danger. And we have 200,000 internal combustion vehicles that are filled with gasoline every 20 minutes going down the 134, driving over the stick with flames shooting out of it, and we have zero thoughts.
Yep.
So, by the way, if you were on a motorcycle, you could eat shit on that flaming stick. Or somebody could just be hauling ass down the freeway and see the stick of fire and swerve to avoid it and go right.
I did that. I'm glad nobody was over there.
Right.
I gave a nice little because suddenly daytime you can't see the damn thing. It's like
I don't know what we're doing anymore. You can't see it. The sun's overhead.
I thought the Mexican dude on the back of the truck was fucking with me personally.
No,
he chucked it out at me. He did. He looked me in the eyes and chucked it out at me.
I want to say this. I don't know if you saw them. Speaking of flares, I don't know if anyone saw the movie Last Breath, where he went down at the commercial diver doing pipeline repair.
Oh, wow.
Interesting movie. We have to go down like 300-400
underwater
feet.
welder.
Underwater mechanic for the oil industry.
Oh,
it's a good movie.
Sick.
It's a nice movie.
I'll check it out.
I was watching him. At some point, his power gets cut off. He's in trouble.
Yeah.
So he goes to his emergency kit because when you're 300 feet below the North Atlantic Sea at night, it's pitch black.
Of course,
can't see your hand in front of your face. Pulls out an underwater flare, pops the cap. Now he can see walking on the seafloor, on the bottom. There's nothing darker than night Atlantic. Walking 300 or 400 feet beneath the sea level surface. It's pitch black on the surface too, but at the bottom, you can't see your hand. And I thought to myself, who invented the underwater flare? And why can't this guy just be in charge of everything? Because somebody said, I need a flare. Yeah. But you got to start it underwater. And they went, I'll figure this shit out. Could you imagine if you just took every one of our retarded mayors and governors and just said, like, if we just took Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom, I'll give you $2 billion in 2,000 years. You two got to figure out a way to start a flame underwater that won't go out. Who thought of the underwater flare? Who invented it? Because think about that. You're in freezing water. You're 400 feet below the surface, and you go in pitch black. And you just go, look, I'm just going to reach into my kit. I can't see anything. I'll just reach my kit, and I'll just pop the cap on this bad boy. Wearing thick gloves, standing on the ocean floor, I'll just pop. I can barely get a lighter to work standing on a patio half the time. Are you kidding? 400 feet, pitch black, thick gloves. And you have to invent this invention where you can pull this stick out. It's got to burn for 20 minutes, underwater in freezing water, and illuminate this area. And a guy's got to be able to do it with one hand. Just pop the cap, fires up. Flame, underwater.
It's all magic, If you don't know science, it's just magic, right? Because it's some kind
Listen.
of thing that burns without oxygen, right?
Yeah.
Or use the oxygen in the water. I don't even know how it works. To
How
me,
the
it's
fuck
magic.
do you get it started?
I know.
Doss, you ever try to light a cigarette when there's like a 7-mile-an-hour breeze? And you're like, fuck, I gotta go inside. Like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is underwater. Doss, you ever try to light a cigarette underwater?
Twice.
That's what I'm saying.
Didn't learn the
It
first
didn't
time.
work. It did not work. Whoever invented the underwater water flare, I just go, I want this guy in charge.
Yeah.
I like you go, hey,
That guy must have invented more than that. You know, that's not, I don't even think that's his major accomplishment. Whatever he did something better than that. That was
Most
just a
likely.
side project.
Yeah, most likely he borrowed and improved on other
Yeah, he
inventions.
knew, somebody
He
knew.
combined several other people's inventions. Like to snap something in half, you create the spark by putting these two compounds together, and then there's
But
this
here's,
thing that catches
chemical
here's what I'm
reaction.
saying.
Yes,
But here's
yes.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to pull that guy aside and go, look, I don't care about flares. This LAX TSA line is too fucking long. Now, what are we going to do? What
Throw a flare
to do?
at it.
Throw a flare? No, it's not flare related. I'm just saying.
Flood the terminal.
You're the guy who starts fire underwater.
Right. So what if that's his whole thing? It's just
No,
set it
I think
fire.
he could ease
Okay.
traffic in a
Okay.
city. I think he could turn that mine to
It's gotta be
all
vetted.
problems,
Okay.
not just fire
Okay.
underwater.
You're coming out as a technocrat?
Yes.
All right, good.
Who is the guy? What year?
Yeah.
You know, and listen, people poo-poo wars a lot, but we get a lot of good inventions
Get
out of
some
war.
shit out of it.
I bet we got some good Nazi flare shit. This shit didn't come out of Mexico or Jamaica. That much I will tell
The
you.
inventor actually moved to Argentina in 47.
That's right. He became one of the boys from Brazil. All right, so I want to know. Hold on, Martha?
Yeah!
Martha?
In Women's History Month.
She's an American inventor and businesswoman, developed the Costin flare, a system of pyrotechnic flares for signaling at sea based on her late husband's work. Okay, now it makes sense. He had pretty much finished the
It's
prototype.
9/10 of the way, and she sent it home.
But she invented. All right, so the guy got the last thing he did is he just went finish the flare. It's almost done, and then he died. Right? Okay, that's her. She just worked out the logo for the packaging or something. All right. Well, wait a second. Was this the underwater flare? This is her. I want to know the story. I want to know the story because there's watches that are water resistant, and then there are watches that are waterproof. Mm-hmm. Now, there could be a water resistant. I'll bet you a regular road flare will work when it's raining outside or whatever, but underwater. So we'll figure out what Martha and what year too, because I gotta know.
Well, I might be wrong, but I think those road flares also work without oxygen. That's why they burn out. Like there's some chemical reaction that happens where they're feeding each other the atoms.
But you couldn't get it started underwater. I don't think. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, I'm saying that it's called a magnesium torch.
There we go. Yeah. Or like Willie Pete.
And
you know?
what year do you think this is? And was it her? He must have done it all. 'Cause otherwise, women. Would you? Okay. You know what women do when you go, what you guys invented? They go, we invented whiteout. It's like, okay. You invented whiteout. You invented smearing white gesso on typos. That's not a thing. Go with the underwater flare, bitches. That's your invention. Forget about whiteout.
Yeah, but then it has this husband backstory. You know, they don't want a murky murky story. They want a clean one where she did it all herself.
Martha Costin, Coston, patented the Costin flare, a system of pyrotechnic flares for signaling in 1859, following rough sketches left to her by her husband, a naval scientist. I don't know, ladies. Underwater flares emit high-pressure jets and compressed air and blah, blah, blah. But to me, it's getting them started. That's the insane part. It's not how do they burn. It's like, where's the spark coming from?
I'm sure that there's a flint and steel type compound that when you break it, they touch and they're right on the magnesium. And it has no choice but to ignite.
I would. Here's all I know. If I was 400 feet under pitch black, and I was running out of oxygen, I'd be the last thing you'd find my body trying to start the fucking flare. That'd be like me. I'd drop it. It'd be pitch black. I wouldn't know where the fuck it was. Wearing thick gloves.
You can't feel anything.
All right, so this shit's been around since 18 something.
Like pre-abolition.
Yeah, it's crazy. We had an underwater well, we didn't do anything underwater in 1851.
The Rebs might disagree with you because they made a submarine.
Oh, you're talking about the Merrimack and the Monitor? or the submarine?
The Monitor,
or there was a submarine.
That's what I mean. They had a submarine.
Yeah, they did. They did have a submarine, and their plan was to, like, go stick a bomb to the bottom of a boat that was sitting in a harbor, and it didn't really work out.
Technology wasn't there. The concept, it's proof of concept. That's what it was.
Yeah. But then Merrimack and Monitor, that was ironclad ships.
Ironclad, yeah.
Partially submerged.
Oh, man, we took a Civil War.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right. So, but still, like I said, underwater flare, not a lot of signaling going on back then.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right. So are you saying to me, Dawson, that we had an underwater flare that worked in like 1855? That like we could go underwater and start a flare in 1855 because this thing was patented in like 1851. Is that what we're saying? I want more info. I want more flare info.
I mean, they've obviously would have had to have tested it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know who they're signaling to. That's the thing. I can't tell you that they're doing some signals, except for maybe fishing, diving.
Wasn't a lot of diving though in 1850s.
Well, I mean, there were major boat. That was the main way of travel was by boat.
You had to fire
people.
There weren't diving, but they were on rafts and boats.
They were connected in a rope and one thing. I'm talking about the big heavy duty divers.
Yeah, I thought they made that.
I think those guys would have it in case of emergency if they got disconnected.
Pull me up.
Did they have the divers with the big bronze helmet?
Yeah,
what year do you think that started? That's the question.
I'm going to say that's right around the same time.
It is, right? I remember it's old-timey, like cyberpunk.
The cost and signal flare system gave the Union a significant advantage during the Civil War.
Yeah.
Allowing ships to communicate effectively at night. Well, yeah, but you're on the water, but you're not underwater.
Yeah.
Magnesium torches were used as light sources for scuba diving in the 1950s and 1960s. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. All right, anyway. All right, so all you need to know and more about flares. We'll take a break. We'll do some news right after this. Rough greens. Sometimes in life, you want the truth. And if you want the truth, you got to take a look at the numbers. Naturopathic doctor Dennis Black, the creator of Rough Greens. I spoke to this guy for a long time on the phone. He says, unfortunately, 50% of all dogs over 10 are going to die of cancer, and that's widely attributed to the dog's diet. So let's get healthy. Let's get your pup healthy. I did it with my dog, Phil, and I can see the difference. There's good news. It's called Rough Greens. Thousands of 5-star reviews. Every month, Rough Greens is the #1 all-natural dog supplement in America. And I said, just read some of the reviews. I've done it myself. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens to it, and it comes alive. It is Rough Greens, right, Dawson?
Fetch a free Jumpstart trial bag for your dog today. Go to roughgreens.com. Just use promo code Adam. That's RUFF greens.com and use promo code Adam and just cover shipping. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens. It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, Ace, I know you got a bucket list, like jumping off the prow of a ship with the dagger in your mouth, and I just completed one that I didn't know was on my bucket list, which was punching a hawk out of the sky. So I just got a new Labrador puppy, and she was playing in the backyard, and I saw this hawk post up on the electric wire, and it had its intentions on the dog. So I just kind of hovered over it, and it swooped down, and I just punched a fucking hawk out of the sky. Yeah, get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Sick.
Mayhem,
Sick.
I want you to say to me,
Yeah.
you had a Labrador puppy and it was snatched up and taken by a hawk. Say that to me.
I had a Labrador puppy, and unfortunately, a hawk came down and snatched it from us.
Oh my God. That is unthinkable. That is, oh God, I weep for you. Okay, now tell me you had a Chihuahua and a hawk snatched it up.
Well, we had this Chihuahua, totally adorable. His name is Clyde. He got snatched by a hawk.
Yeah,
recently.
good. Where do you want to eat?
Chipotle?
Yeah, and scene. That's my take between Chihuahuas and Labradors. That's exactly
You know
my
what?
feeling.
I'm with you.
Good.
God.
All right. So first, diving helmet.
Oh, what?
Produced.
Welcome back to Flair Talk.
That's right. 1820s. All right. What do you got?
All right. A luxury RV company is trying to evict a group of squatters who took over a storage lot of campers in the city
Of luxury
industry.
RVs. You know what I'm starting to realize? Remember when you were a kid? Some kid would like steal a piece of your candy or what have you, and then you would go, "Hey, give my candy back," and they go, "A possession is 9/10 of the law."
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that one? And I would go, "No, it's not. You can't just take. I can't take your computer and then say give it back, and then you tell me that possession, that the person who stole it is 9/10 of the law." But I'm starting to think that's true. In LA, it's just, we were here and now we're in this luxury Is that your RV? It is not my RV, but I'm living in it. So fuck off. Like that's where we're just at now. We're just a bunch of fucking crazy gypsy, druggy, hobo, homeless people that just fucking live in other people's shit. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, but there's something really spooky and weird about this whole situation. Something sinister. This guy bought 100 brand new RVs and parked them on a lot that apparently has no security or gates or fences, and then disappeared.
No, it looks like
rented the lot.
It doesn't have fences around it.
I just looked on the thing. Well, whatever they have, it's not working. If they have
they have. There's a fence with barbed wire on it.
But this person paid his first month's rent on storage and disappeared a couple of years ago.
Disappeared.
Yeah. Well, that's what I heard on KABC today.
Huh. So maybe he's wanting to collect the insurance,
right,
or something.
I
don't know.
I don't
hand
know.
out flyers, hobo hideaway.
But look, the whole point is sparklers are illegal.
Yes, good thing.
Sparklers. If any of these people tried to smoke or light a sparkler, the fucking full weight of law would come down upon them.
That's great how they called that safe and sane fireworks, as if safe wasn't enough.
Right.
Nope. They
Sane.
better be sane too.
Yep. Safe and sane. So these are luxury RVs, and people are living in them.
Yeah, they're priced between $40,000 and $100,000, and they try to use security teams to retrieve them. But the ones they did get were trash. The other ones were just incited a riot, and they chased the security teams out of there. It's a drug village. It looks like
it's a mess. It is a goddamn mess.
Yeah, and they, the city says the city doesn't own the site, and there's a private trespass dispute between property owners and a private party.
This thing where it's
The private party being
what
bums.
is all that junk? That's the crazy part.
But the other part is sort of like, look, this thing where it's like, well, you went out of town for 3 days and some squatters came in and moved into your house, and there's really nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Really? What do I pay you for, city? What are we paying taxes for if there's nothing you can do? And how come you can do everything with me? That I just got my van towed, because you can tow people's vans like no problemo. That's not an issue for you. Or you can tear down people's tree houses.
Yeah.
If you like. So you can do a lot if people... Look, I've said it a million times. these people are empty bags. They don't have checking accounts. They can't cut. The city needs money. They're running at a huge deficit. The state and the city, they need money. Why would they engage in things that cost them money that didn't bring them money? When they tow my van, it costs them money, but they get a tenfold return on their investment.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So they make money off of me because I pay taxes and I have a checking account. These people don't do any of that, so they're empty bags, so they're not going to do anything to them. And then we will essentially live in a society that has two sets of laws. The laws that the taxpayers have to abide by, and then there's another set of laws that nobody has to abide by as long as you're destitute, homeless, and cannot pay the city, which is not really the way cities should be run.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a strategy, though. So they just, these poor people get stuck in this poorness and then get busted and then stay in the poorness. And their family, while they last, feed into that prison industrial complex, and then those guys get out and then do the exact same thing. It's hell.
Can I say this? The first motherfucking busted up RV that goes to park in Malibu on PCH, I'm going to fucking set it on fire. No,
With sparklers?
do not let it become
flare.
a thing. I will fire an underwater road flare from a fucking wrist rocket into that goddamn RV. Do not let it happen again. The problem is everyone sits around and does nothing. Before you know it, there's 30 RVs, and then everyone goes, what are you going to do?
I saw 2 RVs being yanked out of an area that had a lot of RVs, and I realized the way to get them out of there is to crash into them with like a junker car. Just go and just run, because once they were wrecked, the cops came and took them away. It was just some drunk ran into them. But I realized that that's the strategy right there.
Well, that drunk was a hero. All right, so we've lost it. It's gone. It's over. It's just homeless people. It's done. We haven't done it. We can't do anything. We're
Don't give up, Ace.
We can't do anything with the current folks that we have in place. That's what I was.
Well, it's coming. Mm-hmm. All right. Tech expert says anyone who shared their DNA with 23andMe needs to delete their data from the Genetic Information Service before the company is sold to the highest bidder. We have them on TMZ.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
DNA is something you're stuck with for the rest of your life. It's not like a password that you can change. And so you need to protect it. So my advice to you and to everybody else out there, whoever did 23andMe, is go in and tell them to delete it now. I would argue it's worse than getting your social security number, because your DNA is already here in 2025 the key to so much about who you are as a person. So first of all, it contains information about your ancestry. It contains information about your family tree. Famously, it can be used to determine what are called non-paternity events within a family lineage, when somebody claims they're a dad and maybe they're not biologically really. But even more scary, I think, for all of us is that it contains clues about your health, your likelihood to have certain conditions, certain kinds of diseases. And you know who would like to have that information? Insurance companies. Imagine 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when the science has advanced further. What will we be able to learn from DNA then? So this is often the problem with data, right? Like in the moment, you think, oh, well, what's so bad about that? What are they going to do with this? But it catches up with you. And the more data you got out there, the more problems you're going to face later in life.
All right. So it's 2025. You can spit in a cup and send it to Bethesda, Maryland, and the person can examine your spit and decide whether you like broccoli or not. Yet, we still use sticks that shoot fire and throw them into an open highway.
Wait.
It's 2025. They study your DNA from you spitting into a test tube and sending it to Battle Creek, Michigan.
To spit in that cup?
Oh, shit. Mayhem, don't tell me. Oh, man.
I just sent the sample.
Oh, my God. You can do that, or you can take a stick that shoots fire and throw it in the middle of the street. And what is it old or is it new? Where are we living? Are we living in modern times, or are we not living in modern times?
You know what? All I want out of these modern times is to take a burrito that's wrapped in foil and put it in the microwave. You know, I just want to be able to do that.
If somebody said to me, "Listen, Adam, I have a microwave where you can put foil, where you can get, you're talking burrito, Dawson, but the worst is when you get the Italian food.
Yep.
And
it's all stuck to the top.
Pasta primavera, not the top. They give you the fucking foil container.
Oh, yeah.
The foil. When you do Italian, you get foil.
Yeah.
And then the next day you scoop, but all the good stuff, all the fatty, creamy stuff, that's all stuck to the serrated sides. And then you're scraping it along the whatever. If somebody said to me, look, I got a microwave, you can just put the whole fucking foil thing in there and cook it up. You eat it out of that foil thing. But it's $1 million. I'd go,
okay.
You know what? It's worth it. It's worth it. It's going to have a greater impact in my life. Yes. Can you make a fucking microwave where you get the Chinese food that comes in the thing? Remember, it used to have the little wire handle on it? I can just throw it in, wire and all. Wire and all. That's the world I want to live in.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Instead, we're using the stick with the fire to cook our food. Go ahead.
A 19-year-old healthcare worker in Georgia is facing a felony charge after a TikTok video showed her twerking on the head of a disabled person.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to see this video.
He's in the tub.
In the tub.
And she's doing a weird twerk, but did she feed him like a Scooby treat?
A grape? I'm not sure. Yeah.
She has treats for him?
And then she has another one. This is one of her best hits.
So these are people that are like brain dead?
Yes. I have a disabled friend who would go nuts for this. He would be so happy this happened to him. It would be the crowning achievement of his TikTok career.
I just like the fact that she has Scooby treats for these people. Like she's feeding them.
Gotta feed them. Yeah. She's a healthcare worker. Her name is Lucretia Cormasa Coynan of Loganville. She was charged with exploitation of a disabled person after authorities were alerted to the viral video. The footage.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
Just for everybody. I don't want to turn everything into a race riot, but this is a very black chick who's twerking at the second one on top of a young white chick's head. It's not racism.
That was a chick?
The second one.
Okay.
I'm saying, CNN, if it was a white nurse twerking on a black chick's head, it wouldn't be racism either, but you guys would say it was. And Al Sharpton and all the bitches from The View would mobilize, and then we'd have a big fucking national argument over the redhead chick who twerked on top of the brain dead black chick. It's not racism that direction or the other direction, except for you guys would fucking go nuts with it if it was a white chick doing it on a black chick's head. So I'm just saying.
In response to the backlash, she actually posted a video. So you can hear her right here.
Right now, it's a video that's going viral of me.
Wait, you can pause it for a second. Okay, we have a video explanation. Both victims in the video are black males, except for that person looks light. White or something.
It's a light skin. That's a black dude.
Oh God, I thought it was a chick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a mustache. Sorry. What happened to all the black males? I mean, when they all become vegetables? Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Right now, it's a video that's going viral of me, the healthcare worker that's dancing on top of her patient's head. It's not what it is. Trust and believe. All I gotta say for now is angles play a big part, but we're gonna get into that another time. Okay? A lot of people in the comments talking about sex, all type of dumb.
All right, let me say something. She's saying it's the angle, it's not what you think it is, so on and so forth. Now, let me explain life.
It's all right.
Back to racism.
Okay.
When those Border Patrol guys on the horses were like whipping the reins around and there were black Haitians trying to cross the river, from certain angles, it could look like you were beating them.
Yeah.
And then those guys would go, no, man, I'm on a horse, and that's the reins, and I'm pulling or I'm bringing the horse around, and you're seeing what looks like this, but it's not that. She's kind of making the same argument. She's going, yeah, it's just the angle. It looks like. Here's the problem. There's no nursing protocols I'm aware of where you stand up on a chair and squat on someone's head. Now, if there was some nursing protocol called like the tush head buff technique or something, then she would go, well, no, I was doing this and you guys thought I was twerking. But I've never seen a nurse stand on the arms of a chair and squat on someo's head.
No, I have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're at a strip club and she was wearing a nursing outfit.
Well, I mean, she's not a real nurse.
Not registered.
Look, boss, all I'll say is the hospice guidelines in California are all over the place.
Oh, you're right.
I know. I've just checked myself out of hospice.
I'm saying her thing is her thing's an angle thing like again, the guys on the horses go, it looked like, but I wasn't really.
It's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter if it's an angle. It's like when everyone said that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. Well, good thing there's no videos of him doing coke off of strippers.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so seeing as how I can't think of any reason why you would have to squat on a patient's head, then I'm going to go, this is all wrong.
Internet points.
Heimlich?
Heimlich.
Heimlich. Oh, my goodness.
All right, sorry. So, well, I like her explanation. What was her explanation?
Yeah. What was it? She just is like...
She's like, hate is going to hate. Yeah. I love that. Her explanation is precious.
Yeah, wait, run it.
Worker that's dancing on top of her patient's head is not what it is. Trust and believe. All I gotta say for now is angles play a big part, but we're gonna get into that another time. Okay? A lot of people in the comments talking about sex.
All right, can I just say this?
Oh, I see.
Listen, if you got something, let's hear it. You know what I mean? Like if someone goes, were you on that cop car hood during a riot dancing on the hood? And then I'd go, no, there was a cop dog that was attacking me. So I jumped up on the hood. And they'd go, oh, okay. Like there's lots of like weird stuff where you go, well, that looked like you were doing this, but you're like, nah, I wasn't doing that. I was doing this. And now's the time to hear it, but not just saying it's not what you thought it was. You need to talk about what it was.
Yeah.
Like what is this and why are you filming yourself doing it? And what other nursing procedures do you film yourself doing?
Right. It's a breakthrough new therapy.
Yeah. I mean, it got me standing up straight.
Mm-hmm. All right.
She says they felt very aware and comfortable. Yeah.
Look, there's no real victims here. I mean, the victims are the family of the guy who was, a Vietnam vet who is brain dead now and has got some 18-year-old twerking on her head.
Yeah, she's actually still in the jailhouse right now while authorities are reviewing whether her other victims may be involved. Mm-hmm. So that's what's the latest with her.
But what about a movie like a Robert De Niro, Robin Williams movie where the patients wake up the next day and then at some point the word gets out that she has a magical ass? You know what I mean? And then people start lining up. Could you twerk on Nana? Nana hasn't spoken a word in 4 years. The vet, come over. And then Terry Schiavo's parents are like calling up, like, could you twerk on our daughter? No. And she's getting, people are lining up, to have her and her magical ass buns twerk on people's heads because the 3 people she did woke up miraculously the next day. And they talk about a dream of a brown angel who'd come down and visited them upon their head.
This summer, Lucretia and the magic ass.
Yeah. Oprah produces. I'm watching. No, they made that movie with Dane Cook. It was like Good Luck Chuck.
Yeah.
He was with a woman, and then every woman he was with, he broke up with, went on and got married. So all the single women started trying to date him so they could have him bang them, and then they would get married and find love. And there was a line.
Yeah, Tyler Perry presents Touched by Lucretia.
Touched by Lucretia. Yeah. I'm telling you, if these 2 people woke up the next day and then you saw this tape, you would get in line to get your Nana to have her twerk on Nana's head. I'm just saying it'd be a good movie.
Shoot my shot with Lucretia right now before she gets big.
All right, Stu, you got one more?
One more story. Silicone breast implant, Botox, and fillers were all plastic surgery marvels that sparked multi-billion-dollar industries. But now there are signs that the next big demand. Any guesses here?
I hope. Can we start a trend where it's like, Adam's sperm on your head? That'll fucking make you look 10 years younger, and like the Kardashians are lining up and stuff. And I'm like, hold on, I'm just one man. Let me see if I can work stuff up. And like, all right, now just
hook you to a milking machine.
Just hook me up. Like we get the word out there that Carolla sperm is the next big fad. Yeah, they do turtle sperm or salmon sperm or something. But
right.
Carolla sperm, come on now. Come on, and we just get it started, and then they start lining up. Start with the A-listers. I'll work my way down to the extras.
Well, I appreciate your entrepreneurial spirit, but the big demand...
No, I'll do it free.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, gratis.
All right. Well, I was going to undercut you, but I can't go less than free. The next big demand is foreskin regeneration. A new technique.
Part of it. That's what I'm talking about.
So far, only explored on animal penises, but it works by removing cells from a donor's foreskin and then growing the patient's cells over the top.
It only worked on animal ones so far?
So far, okay, and this is interesting.
Hold on. Doge, if you're listening,
we
could probably cut a little spending from doing experiments on animal cocks about their foreskins. Like if you're listening, Elon.
Well, get this. The phase 2 trials, they removed the cells from adult human foreskins donated by deceased men. I don't know how you sign up for that. Recolonize them.
I'll tell you how you sign up for it. You check the box at the DMV that says organ donor. I went to a penis enlargement place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
And all the organ donors donated their organs over there?
I said I was a man show bit, and I said, what? And they go, well, we get the cells or whatever from cadavers to be injected into guys' cocks. Yeah, I go, who agrees to that? He goes, when you're an organ donor, you're an organ donor. I go, they do that thinking they're going to give some teenager the gift of sight again, or a liver, not injecting some Chinese businessman's cock. Well, you check the fucking thing. You check the box, bro. You're in.
Great. It'd be great if at the funeral part of the eulogy was, and his tragic accident saved a 15-year-old boy who needed a new heart, and then an old aging grandfather who needed a kidney, and Mr. Wang is here tonight.
Mr. Wang.
Yeah, I see that bulge. I know.
Mr. Wang, show us the cock. Show it to us. Come on.
Many people think wearing a Speedo to a wake is inappropriate, but wait till you get a look at this. Yeah, they don't advertise that part of it at the DMV, but that's where that shit comes from.
All right, thanks for educating me. They actually took the deceased men's cells and recolonized them with rat cells. These were implanted into the rats, with researchers finding the foreskin quickly connected to the host's blood supply. So it just grows.
Can I say this?
Please.
I talk to the guys who do the foreskin restoration stuff. They use weights.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
To stretch.
Well, they have a $400 machine that will do that for you. Just a heads up if you want to get on Amazon later.
Here's what I'm basically saying, guys. You got circumcised before you could remember. Turn the fucking page. Turn the page. Moving on.
Move on.
Stop looking at yourself as a victim. Stop looking at yourself as mutilated. Just move the fuck on.
Yeah.
Just stop looking in the foreskin rearview mirror. Stop it. I don't know any successful circumcised guy that laments the loss of his foreskin. That becomes a full-time fucking job, and I need you to go on and flourish, not sit around and lament the loss of your pre-pews.
Yeah. Well, look, there's going to be a trial of 15 men who've expressed dissatisfaction.
I don't like any of those guys.
Yeah, me neither. The donated foreskins will first have their cells removed before the patient's cells are grown onto them. So they're doing it. Yeah, it's coming. 15 lucky guys will have a new turtle head.
It's also an It's also we're officially out of problems as a society if this is what we're focusing on.
I'm getting foreskins on all my knuckles. That way I can just sock everybody up.
Punch everyone right in the face.
Right in the face.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Mayhem, making you gay.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I'll get my cauliflower ear all jammed up with the foreskin. I'm thinking maybe foreskin over the top so I look like Worf from Star Trek.
Yeah. Foreskin, knuckle foreskin.
Knuckle foreskin, just covered in foreskin. I'm undefeatable. Toadstyles. Unstoppable.
I think the foreskin is called the prepuce.
Listen, bud, I'm going to get a foreskin and then go again to the clinic and get a 5 skin.
5? I'll do you one better. Okay. It's called a prepuce. And then why do I know a foreskin is called a prepuce?
Why do I know that a pubic wig is called a merkin?
That's semi-common knowledge.
Oh, okay.
Prepuce a little deeper.
Yeah, so that's a bit more esoteric.
Prepuce, technical term for foreskin.
The fuck? How you know that? Did you go to a bris recently?
I got called prepuce when in high school. My buddy Seb just called me foreskin. I thought it was funny. It'd be a fucking hate crime now. Prepuce, yeah. All right, let's bring it home. I'm starting to get wood here.
We're done, bud.
All
That's
right.
the news.
I'm going to be in San Diego April 11th doing 2 shows over there, American Comedy Club, and then the 12th as well, San Diego. It's a smallish club, so you want to get those tickets. Go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows. The new movie, The Luckiest Man in America, is coming out April 4th, and they've got the wrestling event in Long Beach. That's on the 5th. Paul Walter Hauser, interesting dude. And until next time, Adam Carolla, Paul Walter Hauser, and Mayhem saying, mahalo.